Hey everybody, it's GombletX, and welcome back to another premiere draft of Theros Beyond Death. And it looks like we have another really sweet pack 1 here. Phoenix of Ash is an incredible rare, super aggressive red card. Saw a lot of play in mono red standard decks, and I'm a huge fan of it. 3 mana 2/2 flying haste with a fire breathing effect and the ability to come back from your graveyard later with that escape trigger. That isn't too hard to hit, just need 3 other cards engraved. So Phoenix of Ash is a phenomenal card and a great way to start this draft. This pack is also just very, very powerful. We have 2 really good gold cards, Mischievous Chimera for blue-red and Eutropia for green-blue. We also have Dreadful Apathy for great mono-white removal and Wordbearer Blessing for great mono-green removal. Excellent opening pack there, but we are going to go with the Phoenix of Ash. Now, as much as I like Eutropia, I don't think that green, blue, red is something we can really do here. And we see a pretty solid black card, the Mire Triton. Escape is one of the most powerful mechanics in the set, as you can see on our Phoenix of Ash over here, and Mire Triton can fuel that very well. 2 mana for a 2/1 Death Touch that gains you 2 life and mills 2 cards is very good, because a 2 mana 2/1 with Death Touch is already a decent deal, but then the gain 2 life is an upside, and the mill 2 cards in this format is a pretty big upside as well. So Mire Triton is a solid scoop up to follow up the Phoenix of Ash here. Maybe some kind of red-black escape deck is what we're going for. Really excellent removal here. Final Death, 5 mana instant speed, exile target creature. I've been missing on great removal a lot in my previous drafts. I'd like to scoop this up pretty early this time. The exile is massive in this format, again, because of how good escape is and also other graveyard recursion. So I'm probably scooping up Final Death here, but Orietta Mountain's Blaze is nice. Being able to filter through any late game land drops, make sure you're not flooding out is pretty great. Final Flare is okay, definitely nothing near Final Death, but there are a lot of ways to produce some tokens or steal opposing creatures to sacrifice for this. And other than that, Shadow of the Sky is obviously kind of a bomb, being a Wrath affected rare here, but I don't think it's that much better than Final Death, especially since we're already looking towards black here. Let's scoop that up. So pick 4 now, we see a pretty solid uncommon that I'm probably going to go with out of this pack. The Agonizing Remorse, actually kind of a good deal. Usually I don't run a lot of discard, but this is one of the better kind of discard effects, because you can play this just any time that you draw it, really, because you're going to choose any non-land card in your opponent's hand, exile it, and they lose a life. And if you're really unlucky and they don't have any non-land cards in hand, you still get to exile an escape card from their grave. So it's, if you think about it, it's kind of like a Doomblade for a card in their hand. You know, 2 mana, remove the best card in their hand. It's almost like a removal spell if you get it early enough in the game where your opponent still has good stuff in hand. So Agonizing Remorse actually has played like a pretty solid card to me, and I'm going to scoop that up here. And here we are now in pick 5. Wow, white, it looks pretty open here with Dreadful Apathy and Daybreak Chimera. I think both of those are pretty great. Dreadful Apathy is definitely phenomenal, and Chimera's just been solid. But I also have had some success with Underworld Charger. Just anything with Escape on it is a pretty good deal, even though this card can't block. That is pretty rough when you're on the defensive for sure, but this card is really, really good on the offensive, because a 3/3, that's pushing a lot of damage, and it's going to force some trades. And if you're getting any trade with something that you can just re-escape from your graveyard, you're getting a very good deal, because you're almost like not even down a card. Pick 6 now. Aspect of Lamprey is fine in black here. Skophos Maze Warden is fine in red. Nothing that exciting on color, but nothing that exciting off color. Like Ichthyomorphosis is fine, but Final Death is definitely a way better removal spell. Revoke Existence is fine, but Final Death is a little better, I think. White did look pretty open previously. Maybe we take Revoke Existence and just speculate on white being more open than red here. But Skophos Maze Warden's still in here. That's like the most minor sign for red in the world. I guess we could also just take Aspect. Like, this card was fine to have one of in my last black deck, and we're 100% playing black at this point. There's nothing we can do to get out of black. Alright, well, we see Final Flare still in this pack, as well as Slaughter Priest of Mogis, which is kind of the black-red sacrifice sort of card, as well as Discordant Piper, which is good in black-red sacrifice as well. Now I'm actually kind of confident we could maybe just jam black-red here and scoop up a Slaughter Priest of Mogis. Yeah, I mean, sure, let's go for it here, see if it pans out for us. But that's a great sign. And Mogis' Favor nice and late is great as well. This card's absurdly good against 1 toughness creatures, but it's also good at helping your creatures trade up into stuff. Say you've got a 3/3 attacking and they block with 2 2/2s, you can then Mogis' Favor post-combat on the second 2/2, so you've killed both of them. And you've basically not even lost a card, because this card is so cheap to escape, you only need 2 other cards from your graveyard. Now you can get a lot of kind of 2-for-1s with this card just because of how easy it is to just keep recasting it throughout the game. Mogis' Favor is quite solid. Happy to scoop that up here. Thrill of Possibility would be okay here. Underworld Fires is like pretty great sideboard material because a lot of escape cards are 1 toughness, but it's not something we can afford to main deck. So I'm just going to take a Thrill of Possibility. Ooh, Lamphead of Death's Vigil is phenomenal. If you've seen my last draft, then you will see that this card can sneak wins out of absolutely nowhere, because this can just stack up so much damage out of nowhere. If you're late in the game and you have 6 creatures on board, that's 6 damage right there. So all of a sudden, you know, even if your opponent's at like 11 and you're constantly attacking with a 5/5, now they have to start chumping when maybe they didn't want to, because this is just threatening so much damage. So Lamphead of Death's Vigil is quite a solid card. I'm pretty happy to take that here. And now we see Orietta, Mountain's Blaze, and Final Flare. Both of these are quite solid. We definitely need to get some sacrificial fodder like Satyr tokens and the like for Final Flare, but I think it has a much higher upside than Orietta does. Orietta is just consistently good. It's always going to be solid, but Final Flare could be really good if we get the right stuff to work for it, and the stuff to work for it is the stuff we're already going to be looking for in red-black. It's going to be effects that steal opposing creatures, or effects that give us a little Satyr token along with whatever else they're doing. I don't know how good Thundering Chariot is, but it doesn't look great, but I know Satyr's Cunning is pretty bad, even if we are the Rakdos Sack deck, unfortunately. So what have we opened up now in pack 2? We've opened up another Mire Triton. I already spoke my piece on that card. It is just great. 2 mana 2/1 with multiple upsides. 2 mana 2/1 Death Touch with multiple upsides. Omen of the Forge is quite solid, cheap removal. And then Mogis's Favor, obviously great as well, but that did wheel last time. I feel like Mire Triton's the least likely card to wheel, and it's also very good with escape cards like our Underworld Charger and Phoenix of Ashes. I kind of want to take Mire Triton here over the Omen of the Forge. That might be a bit greedy, because we don't have a lot of great removal right now. We have Final Death and Final Flare, and that's it. But I am quite a Mire Triton enjoyer. Maybe I'm supposed to take Omen of the Forge, but I'm scooping up this Mire Triton here. Wow, a great white rare gets passed to us. Pretty unfortunate. That's not going to happen here in this deck. Blood Aspirant, even if you're the red-black sack deck, this card is pretty bad because it's expensive to use the sack ability. It's only 1 damage when you do it. It does start getting +1/+1 counters, but it does that pretty slow. I am not a big fan of Blood Aspirant. I'm a much bigger fan of the sack outlets like Lamphead of Death's Vigil. I think this card's way better. Underworld Charger is quite sweet as well. Omen of the Dead would be good here because it's going to recur something from our graveyard and give us an enchantment to sacrifice to Final Flare. So Lamphead, Underworld Charger, and Omen of the Dead are all pretty sweet here. Those are the cards I would be happy to pick up. Blood Aspirant is definitely a 4th place after all of those. I think I'm going to go for another Lamphead. I just really like that card. That might be wrong. Maybe you're supposed to take another Underworld Charger. Yeah, I guess I'll take another Underworld Charger. We saw the last Lamphead that we picked up pretty late, so it's potential we can pick this one up late as well. Mogis's Favor also tends to go pretty late. At least I've been seeing it go pretty late, to where I'm probably going to take Incendiary Oracle here. I like this card a lot. The ability on this is very relevant, being able to exile whatever this is damaging instead of just letting it go to the graveyard, because that's very good again against escape effects and graveyard recursion. So Incendiary Oracle is going to be my pickup there. Love that 2-drop creature. And now we have a good stack of 2-drop creatures, so Oriat is definitely getting worse in terms of value because we already have Slaughter Priest, Oracle, Double Triton, and Lamphead of Death's Vigil. We already have 5, and we're not even halfway through the draft. And Oriat's definitely the weakest out of everything I just listed, I would say. So I kind of want to just take Infuriate here for just being aggressive. Nice little combat trick. Something that we're missing out on a little more. We're definitely not missing out on 2-drop creatures right now. Another Scophos Warleader would be okay here, but these go massively late, and I don't need a million of them. Stampede Rider's not really good in this color pair. It's really for red-green. Same with Furious Rise. Don't have a lot of creatures with power 4 or greater, so Funeral Rite seems fine to me. Draw 2, Mill 2. Those are both good abilities. Obviously, losing 2 life isn't ideal, but Draw 2, Mill 2 is pretty big game in terms of card advantage. I think Cling to Dust is actually, like, okay, right? This can draw you a card. Exile a card from a graveyard. If it was a creature, you gain 3, otherwise draw a card. Yeah, this is like fine. We can play this, and it's going to be good against escape decks, and worst case scenario is just 1 mana draw a card most of the time. Sure. Seems better than another Thrill of Possibility or Fruit of Tizerus. Discordant Piper seems awesome with Lamphead of Death's Vigil, Final Flare, all of that stuff. Rage Scarred Berserker is another one of those, just like, you need a 5-drop, slap it in the deck. Similar to Scophos Warleader. Scoop those up later. I'll just take the Piper here. Oh, now this is a 5-drop that is not particularly filler. This is a 5-drop that's very good. 5 mana for a 4/4 and a 1/1 satyr that can't block. Sure, the satyr can't block, but that's still very good for sacrifice effects. And whenever we target this creature, we give our whole field +1/+0. I like Heroes of the Revel definitely a lot better than like War Leader. Second Piper would be cool, but I'm going to go for the Heroes of the Revel here. Heroes of the Revel is the kind of card that is why you don't take Scophos Warrior like massively highly, because for 5 mana you can get a lot of good value, such as like Heroes of the Revel. There's an Omen of the Dead. We don't have one yet, and that seems fine with our Final Flare. Just recur something from our grave and then sacrifice that enchantment later to cast our burn spell. I'm not going to play Underworld Dreams. That's just not something that actually pans out super well in this format. Yeah, we're not going to go Furious Rise. But we're also probably not going to go double Scophos either. So I guess I'll take it just in case. Okay, what have we got in pack 3? Not much. We've got Final Flare and we've got Funeral Rites. The white players in this draft table are super happy because Heliod's Intervention is an absurd card. There's so many enchantments in this format that this is quite often a 2-for-1, sometimes even a 3 or 4-for-1. You just spend 5 or 6 mana, blow up 3 of your opponent's permanents because there's so many enchantment creatures and stuff. Heliod's Intervention is obnoxiously good, so definitely exciting for the white players. So are we on Funeral Rites or Final Flare? I don't know. We already have a full deck. We've got a 23 card deck right now. We're ready. We're raring to go. I'm just going to scoop up another Final Flare first. Not really sure there between those two. All right, Omen of the Forge looks pretty good in this deck because it works with our Final Flares. It's a nice cheap removal spell as well. How many creatures do we have? 11 creatures? Definitely looking to get some more creatures to be nice and aggressive, but I don't know if I'm taking stuff that's as filler as Stampede Rider would be in this color pair right now. I'll take the Omen of the Forge first. Rapid Flames is actually fine if you're a pretty aggressive deck as well. This can shut off 3 blockers in the late game, which can just finish the game off. Again, not a card I'd take massively highly though, but a fine card to scoop up later. So we have Grey Merchant of Asphodel. Our Devotion to Black is okay. Soul Reaper Mogus looks really good in here though. Sacking creatures to draw cards is great. It's between these two probably. I think Scavenging Harpy's like a close third after these two. Don't know if I need another 5 mana creature, but at the same time, I don't need another 3 either. We've got 3 3-mana creatures. I mean, Grey Merchant can close out some games. We've got a lot of black cards in here. It could be some high devotion. I'm going to go for the Grey Merchant here. I don't know about that. Ooh, this pick's super easy. Iroas' Blessing. Phenomenal removal. Give one of our creatures +1/+1 and deal 4 to an opposing creature when we play it. So we still need some more filler creatures, so something like Scophos Maze Warden seems fine. We don't have any 4-mana creatures yet, so we'll slap that in here. But we do have multiple 5s, so I'm not going to take Rage Scarred Berserker. Another Funeral Rites would be fine. Physician would be like fine, but I'm going to take Maze Warden. Looks like the most empty spot on our curve. Wow, Temple of Malice for black-red mana fixing, but Mire Triton number 3. Mire Triton number 3 when we have Phoenix Vash and double Underworld Charger. I'm taking all the Mire Tritons. No one can stop me from taking the Mire Tritons. I should probably stop myself from taking the 3rd Mire Triton, but I'm not going to. I probably should have taken like Underworld Charger out of that pack or something. I don't know. I don't like Minions Return. It's a very narrow kind of graveyard recursion spell. That being said, I don't love the aspect of Lamprey either, but whatever, it's probably marginally better. We're not going to play any of this stuff. I'll just take a Satyr's Cunning for the side. Just in case I want to start getting funky about it and playing those to have a little more token production. They're very bad tokens, but if you really, really, really need stuff to sack, then I guess you can go for it. Is there an option? Yeah, I'm not going to main deck Artifact Removal or a 3-mana 2/2 haste. I'm not going to main deck either of those. I'll just rare draft there. Probably not playing Cling to Dusk. Probably not playing Infuriate based on how good our other non-creature spells are now. How's our creature count looking? 14. Would like a little more, but I really don't like Stampede Rider. But we can't be picky now. We have 5 cards left. Oh, I feel like I'm just going to be disappointed with Stampede Rider all the time. I'm just going to take the Temple. Would I rather have a 4-mana 4/3 enchantment creature than the 3-mana 2/3? That will very rarely get additional power. Honestly, I think I'm going to take the 4-mana 4/3 over that. Ooh, we can be disappointed in Blood Aspirant. We can show off why Blood Aspirant is bad, even in a sacrifice deck here. No, I'm not going to. I'm going to take Funeral Rites here. 15 creatures? Alright, 16 creatures. Rage Scarred Berserker will fill it out. Now we've got a full deck. Oh, and an Oread of Mountain's Blaze. Last pick. Okay, seems exciting. I was going to say, we don't have a lot of great ways to be sacrificing stuff here. We're kind of just like red-black self-mill. So I don't actually think this is even the deck that could try to show off why the Aspirant is bad. Because it's just bad in this deck because our deck's not a good sacrifice deck in the first place. So obviously it'll be bad in here. So that's why I didn't take that. I just took another final Funeral Rites, because this deck I think lends itself a lot more to self-mill than sacrifice at this point. Okay, I don't think we're cutting any creatures, because we have 16. We have 17, we got the full 17. So I guess we could, oh yeah, we could cut an Oread. Because then we still have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 2-drops. That's probably fine. We do have a lot of stuff going on at 5 mana still, though. But I'm pretty okay cutting Oread. I think I will. And then we get to cut 4 non-creature cards here and still have a 17 pretty aggressive creature count deck. Love Final Death, Iroas' Blessing. Don't love the Final Flares in here, if I'm being honest. Because we have Final Death and Iroas' Blessing and Omen of the Forge to an extent, filling out our removal. We still need to cut 2 more cards out of that. Oh, we have Mogi's Favor as well to an extent, filling out removal. I'm less excited about Aspect of Lamprey in this deck because we have less big creatures to give lifelink to. Definitely love Agonizing Remorse. Definitely love Double Funeral Rites. You know what we could do? We could actually cut one of our 5-mana creatures, and then we can like cut a land and cut less cards. Because we could just lean into our Mountain of 2-drops here to lower our curve and lower our land count in the process. Just cut like a Scophos War Leader, I guess. You even cut 2 of our 5-drops and put the Oread back in if we want to lower the land count here. I guess we have 2 Omens to work with the Final Flares, which is good. The Discordant Piper is definitely good to work with it. Here's the Revel's good to work with it. Few solid ways to work with the Final Flares. I think I'm going to keep 1 in. I'm going to hedge our bets there. Keep 1 Final Flare in this deck. And then in which case we could just go cut Aspect, cut War Leader, cut 1 land. It'd be a 16 land deck. Average 2.9. That's a little high, I think, for 16, but still. Actually want to cut a mountain at a swamp here. Makes our Phoenix of Ash worse for sure, but we've got a high black count for our high black devotion for Great Merchant of Asphodel. I guess we only have 2 double black cards, so we probably actually still want an even split just to make Phoenix of Ash easier to cast. We don't need double black that much more often than we need double red. Alright, so here's a final look at the deck we have built today. This is a black-red deck, actually just focused on some powerful aggressive escape cards like Phoenix of Ash and Underworld Charger. We've got a pretty low curve as well as a ton of ways to self-mill to get those cards in our grave alongside enough cards to return them from grave. Triple Mire Triton here is a pretty big draw to this deck. Milling 2 cards, gaining 2 life, and putting a 2/1 Death Touch all on this 1 card for 2 mana. Double Funeral Rites is great as well in the late game, drawing us a couple cards, milling us a little bit more for our escape cards. We actually have a solid removal package this time around. Final Death, Iroas' Blessing, and Final Flare to get rid of bigger creatures, and Omen of the Forge and Mogi's Favor to get rid of smaller creatures. We even have Agonizing Remorse being some discard to pull out a good card from our opponent's hand and exile it. Looks like just a pretty solid deck as well. Good amount of creatures here as well for just beating into our opponent. In the meantime, while we're setting up our big escape threats. Nothing like massively exciting about any of the particular creatures in here, but just a good count of them overall. And that's going to be the deck. Pretty aggressive Rakdos strategy here. So here we are now in game 1. Our opponent is on the play, but our hand's looking pretty spicy here. Turn 2 Discordant Piper into turn 3 Phoenix of Ash. Omen of the Forge for a little bit of interaction in the hand as well. Underworld Charger, Nyxborn Marauder to play after all that stuff. Looking pretty good here. Our opponent is on blue-green. Tap out for a Hyrax Tower Scout. Well, since they're tapped out in a blue deck here, I'm going to go ahead and slam down this Phoenix of Ash. And hope for the best from it here. Probably casting our Underworld Charger next turn, we'll see. Another Hyrax Tower Scout from our opponent, so we're really not getting anything done on the ground. I mean, 3/3s will trade into their 3/3s all day, so Underworld Charger would be fine, but Discordant Piper is not going to do much for us. It'll get us 2 chump blocks, which might be solid here. Let's get this Underworld Charger down. That will start attacking alongside our Phoenix of Ash. Do really need to worry about blocking here. Our opponent is hitting us much harder, so actually I'm just going to take this block right now, since the Discordant Piper comes with another chump block. Witness of Tomorrows is the play, so they can block the Phoenix of Ash with that. Then we can buff our Phoenix of Ash so that they still trade. Can also block Underworld Charger with that. I mean, we're definitely attacking both. Wouldn't actually be surprised if they just don't block here. Unfortunately, our opponent just kind of brought the beef this game, which is an issue. And we don't have a second black for our Nyxborn Marauder, which is not ideal. No blocks. So we can Funeral Rites now. That's going to cost us some life to do, though. But that's kind of our only play because we can't afford to actually cast a creature right now. Yeah, I think that's where we're at. We might actually just lose to this beef. No black source. This is not panning out how we had hoped after seeing the opener. I guess if I waited on the Discordant Piper, I could have stacked the Piper plus an Omen of the Forge to kill one of these Tower Scouts. But we're still down to 6 here, facing 2 3-power things. Alright, at least we get to Omen of the Forge the Lionfish. It's definitely good. I guess we could Mogis' Favorite during our turn, but we're really stuck on black mana, so we can't afford to use Mogis' Favor during our turn. We need multiple blockers, we're just dead on board. Omen of the Dead, that's not a black source. Ooh. Cast one spell. If we cast Lamphead, we've got 6 mana total after we play this land, which means we have 4 mana up after casting Lamphead, so 3 of it can go to buffing Phoenix of Ash and then 1 to sack and gain a life. That's probably our best bet. There's no way we find lethal here, right? Mogis can do 2 more damage, and then we can buff Phoenix once, so 1, 2, 3, 4 more damage, 5, make it 9. I guess if they had no instance with the Lionfish, we could have Omen to the face and then hope for the best with these 2. Wait, with Lamphead we might find lethal. Right? Mogis' Favor on Underworld Charger. No, we can't Mogis' Favor if we play Lamphead, because that's our 1 black mana. we can buff Phoenix of Ash once and then attack both for 7 and then play Lampad, and then we can make it 8, 9, 10. Probably just 8, 9 because we just don't have enough mana. I guess we attack with just Underworld Charger and we've got a shot at finding lethal next turn. If we don't immediately die, and we're less likely to immediately die by holding 2 blockers back. We've got the cards engraved to escape a Phoenix of Ash next turn as well. Which is definitely a thing. If we need to block with it here. Vexing Goal, okay. Well, if I did the attack with both, I would just be flat out dead right now. But now I still have a shot. 2 cards in hand. If they're both nothing, we have a shot here. Okay. I mean, so we go block, block, and we go to 1. Alright, we're going to 1 on board. Am I actually scrying here instead of killing Witness of Tomorrows? Because if I don't kill my opponent next turn, I'm just going to die anyway. So I might as well scry instead of killing their Witness of Tomorrows, right? Like, I'm dead next turn no matter what. I have to lethal them, which means I need to find cards that'll find lethal. Or I need to just drain them life here. Actually, it's probably best drain 2. Put them to 6. Bring back Phoenix of Ash is a 4 power. 4, 5, 6, 7. Put them to 1. Bring back Phoenix of Ash and play Mogis' Favor if they don't have any cards. I think that's actually the best thing we can do here, is drain them for 2, and then hope it's literally just like land in hand. This is like our only hope. Alright. There's 2 lands in hand, please. Nothing yet. Is there any better way to do this than Phoenix and Mogis' Favor? No, nothing else has haste. We can Mogis' Favor Underworld Charger and hit for 5, but then there's no way to find the last damage. Yeah, we have to Phoenix Mogis' Favor here. Yeah, they've got the counter spell. That'll do it. Rough. Really close game 1 there. Well, they had a beef hand. Just curve out some 3/3s on us. Beefy stuff from the green deck. Well, here we are now in game 2. A very unkeepable hand. Snap mulligan there. And this hand actually looks pretty great. I'll keep this one. I think we get rid of the 5-drop. Yeah, I think we do. Sage of Mysteries is the first play from our opponent. They might try to mill us out here, making somebody mill 2 cards every time they get an enchantment on the board. Omen of Sea, Moment of Truth. They milling themselves or are they milling us? They are going to mill us, which is pretty good with our Phoenix of Ash. There is that. Alright, we can Omen of the Forge the Sage of Mysteries if we're that worried about it. I'm not that worried about it right now. I might kill it later with Omen of the Forge. For now, I'm just going to start playing some threats to attack with. Kelef, Beloved of the Sea. Everything that we spend to target one of their spells costs 1 more to cast now. That's pretty brutal. We'll send the Oracle in. It'll trade with Caliphate or hit them for 2. I think hit them for 2 it is. So we want to set up to cast Phoenix of Ash next turn. So right now, do I want to Omen of the Forge the Sage? Or Play Lamphead. I guess Omen of the Forge doesn't actually cost anymore because it's not the spell targeting it, it's the ability. So we could actually still Omen of the Forge for just 2. I don't think I want a Mire Triton. I'm already down to 27. That's not terrible. I could still Mire Triton. Screw it. Mire Triton here. We're getting wildly aggro. We're just going to let them mill us all over the place. And as soon as we're not okay with that, we just Omen of the Forge the Sage. 25 cards still. Looks like it just might be mono blue mill over there. Definitely good with devotion cards like Caliphate. Power equal to the devotion to blue there. This is an absolute scam. Not going to let our Phoenix of Ash get countered here because the counter spells in this format exile, which is pretty annoying and very bad for our Phoenix. So we just keep jamming in with everybody else. If they just keep not blocking, they'll die to these two eventually. We don't even need to cast the Phoenix if they're never going to block these cards. Alright, so now they scry with Omen of the Sea because they didn't get to cast their counterspell. We've got our Omen of the Forge at the ready as soon as they try to cast another enchantment. That's another enchantment. Let's boop the 0-2 before we mill more. At this point, I'm kind of over it. 6 cards, that's enough mill. I'm good where we're at. Ooh, Final Death. It's going to be very expensive to do that. They only have 2 mana up here. That's not... Oh, it is enough because of Naiad. Yeah, they're baiting us here with the 3 mana Deny the Divine, which is 2 mana because of their Naiad. So yeah, we're still just not casting this Phoenix. We can just keep sending in with our stuff on board. Thanks to Mogus' favor. Alright. Spend the mana on the buff. And let's see if they want to Deny the Divine to save their Naiad. If they have 2 Deny the Divines in hand, I guess they do that. Yeah. That was pretty obvious they had at least 1. That play makes me think they might have another. But I'm not going to play around a second copy at this point, I think. Well, if they cast literally nothing with 3 cards in hand... Oh, boy. Guess we're still just on that play around it game because we're still slowly killing them. With or without Phoenix of Ash. And they've got instants. They have 5 mana up, 3 cards in hand, and played nothing. Memory Drain. So that doesn't exile. Which is why they would definitely use it here if they had both that and Deny the Divine. Nadir Kraken, that's gonna get Final Death. They have 2 mana up, not enough for Deny the Divine. So, we are pretty certain that we just cast Phoenix of Ash this turn. We definitely want another land for Final Death. None of our creatures help us get that land. I kind of want to take a Rage Guard Berserk, but then if I don't hit a land, I'm real doomed. Actually, if I don't hit a land, I just play Phoenix of Ash. So yeah, sure. Rage Guard Berserker, we don't hit the land, we Phoenix of Ash. We do hit the land, we just Final Death while they're tapped out. Alright, we hit the land, Final Death that Kraken past turn, and we should hopefully have things set up here. Shimmerwing Chimera, they're tapping out for that, which means Phoenix of Ash is super castable. We have so many cards in grave that we can just trade for a Chimera and then play this again later. They're going to take it. They are not going to trade with Shimmerwing Chimera. That card can return an enchantment to their hand every turn, so if they have any omens of their own with good enter the battlefield effects, they can recast them. Ichthyomorphosis, so they didn't have counterspells anymore, but they did have the ability to make our Phoenix of Ash a 1-2 on the ground. But a 1-2 on the ground, still big enough to attack into this Lionfish, especially with an additional power this turn. Hit them down to 7 life. They can pick up the Lionfish if they want. I guess if they have a Constellation card in their hand where they want to recast an enchantment here, then they can pick up Lionfish, but otherwise they're probably just chilling. They could pick up Ichthyomorphosis, I guess, is the thing. They can pick up Ichthyomorphosis and put it on the Berserker instead, because they can block and trade with the Phoenix, but then the problem is I just play the Phoenix again. Unless they have 6 mana here. Then they could go Ichthyomorphosis, trade with the Phoenix, and then recast. Or not recast, but cast to Deny the Divine when I try to recast Phoenix. Alright, let's see. Oop. I'm going to go for the recast here just immediately, while they only have 2 mana up instead of potentially more. And then I might as well Funeral Rites as well right now. Not bad draws at all. Not bad draws. 2 cards in their hand, 6 mana up. They do have another Ichthyomorphosis for the Phoenix. Again, it's a 1-2 thanks to the +1/+1 counter, which means it trades into the Lionfish or hits them a little bit here. And if it trades into the Lionfish, then again, we can just cast it from grave. We just never stop casting this Phoenix. They have the mana to counter it now, but at this point, they would be out of cards if they did. They've got 1 card in hand. Cool. We get to drop Underworld Charger as well. We've got very lethal on board. Sea God's Scorn to return some of these to hand. But we don't have lethal anymore. We could hit for 4 this turn, but that's the best we can do. Alright. Final top deck from our opponent. I'm assuming it is not a good enough draw to close out the game here. Alright, that is going to close the game out. Opponent drew their card for turn and spent all of their remaining ropes. Just being sad, letting us really relish in the victory there. So 1-1 as we head into round 3. Alright, here we are in round 3. Pretty great hand for on the play. We've got that turn 2 Mire Triton Mogis' Favor to try to clear some small things out of the way. And if we hit our 3rd land drop, Mire Triton into Underworld Charger, pretty scary curve, even if we don't hit the 4th land on turn 4 for the Maze Warden. If we do, we're just really off to the races. Omen of the Forge is the first draw, another way to keep the board clear. Playing against green-white here, they start with a Skola Grove Dancer. Don't hit a land here, so we can Omen of the Forge that Grove Dancer or just play an Oracle. don't love Triton trading for Grove Dancer, so I'm just going to trade Omen of the Forge into it. Turn 3, Nexus Wardens is the play. Alright. Our Death Toucher can still attack into that quite well. Then we can drop an Underworld Charger. And that's big enough that if they block that with their 1/4, we can finish the 1/4 off with the Mogis' Favor. Unless they do that. Now it can't attack or block. Don't have any way to sacrifice it here yet, unfortunately, but hopefully we can draw a way to sacrifice it before they have the mana up to exile it permanently. So for now, let's just play the biggest threat we have, just the biggest creature here, and send in for 2. Gotta keep our board expanding here, keep getting more threats down. Opponent plays nothing. Pretty suspicious, I think, but maybe just something in my eye. Let's see. Your 4 untapped mana versus my 5 untapped mana. What do you got? I don't have any instance, so whatever they have, it's going to go through, but looks scary. You're having 5 untapped mana here. Go for the trade on Mire, try and throw a removal spell at the Maze Warden. Is that the plan? I'm not going to buff the Warden at all. I'll just spend all my mana to play a creature and draw some cards. Alright, just a trade. They're green-white. They don't have counter spells. I guess they're just exiling Underworld Charger, I suppose. Draw some cards off this Funeral Rites. Yep. Just exiling Underworld Charger. Pretty cool with me. Land Agonizing Remorse. They're at 13 here. I want to really put the pressure on with these creatures, but I'll Agonizing Remorse next turn. As nice as it would be to see exactly what's going on in there, I think I just make a threatening board state right now. Alright, so Nylea's Forerunner, that just trades for either of these. That's kind of okay. And then we play a Heroes of the Revel. Here's the Rebel's really good with Mogis' Favor, so I don't think we're playing Agonizing Remorse again. Okay, cool. Trade with the bigger one, makes sense. We hit for 2, then we drop Heroes. If we had 1 more mana, I would absolutely play Heroes and Agonizing Remorse, but because we don't, just Heroes it'll be. What do they have for 6 mana now? Is it the 4/4 that fights something? 4/4 and fight the Oracle. That would be pretty good. Yep. Everything in our hand costs 3 mana, so we can cast everything in hand and scry before we draw here. But if I draw something good that costs more than 3, I'm going to be sad that I did this. Alright, Funeral Rites. I'm going to keep that. Scry the other thing to the bottom. Alright, this is fine. This is fine. So, I mean, Heroes is just going to trade for the Brawler. Let's see what's in their hand and see if this is going to work out for us. Probably not. It's probably 3 good cards. It is. So yeah, our opponent's winning the game card advantage-wise, for sure. What is their most important card? I mean, a 3/3 flyer is not the scariest thing ever when they're going to be on the back foot. I think we get rid of the Colossus. Because they need double white for the Chimera. So if they don't draw a white source actually here, then they like they can't even cast Commanding Presence. Their hand is just nothing if they don't draw a white source, because they're not going to have any creatures out here unless they want to go to 2 life, which would be very risky. Okay, I guess 4 life, not 2 life, because they can block the 1/1 there. Alright, they're going to get risky with it. Their plans to just chump block with 1/1s all day long. We draw a single removal spell and they're out. Grey Merchant of Asphodel? Not a removal spell, but it does do 3 damage to them. Is it better to Funeral Rites or Grey Merchant here? It's probably better to Grey Merchant, I would think. Because then, again, if they don't draw the white source, they can't afford to attack. Because now if they attack, like, they'll have 1 creature to block with. And they need 2 creatures to block with. Actually, even if they draw the white source? No, if they draw the white source, they play the Chimera, attack with Brawler. Brawler makes a 1/1. And then they have 2 blockers because they have a 1/1 in the Chimera. But yeah, I was considering going for Funeral Rites there, because then we might be able to just get 1 more Black Devotion and win that way. But we wouldn't get the Devotion immediately, and we wouldn't gain any life here, so we would have been at 12, take another 6, we'd be at 6 life. I don't know, maybe I'm a coward. Maybe I'm a coward and I was supposed to go all in with it there. Well, that's another blocker. Which means they have 2 blockers. So I'm going to go for the chump here. Because if I don't go for the chump, then we win with 1 removal spell. If I do go for the chump, then we win with 1 removal spell. So we win with 1 removal spell either way, and this time we don't take damage. Alright, Funeral Rites, come on. Give me the goodies. Oh! Is that... yeah, that works. That does work. That is game. It's 2 removal spells, so it's like mega game. But only 1 that I could afford right now, so I believe that puts us to 2-1 now as we head into round 4. Round 4 now. Opponent is on the play. We've got a pretty good curve. Slaughter Priest of Mogis, Mire Triton at 2. Underworld Charger and Scophos Maze Warden at 3 and 4. Red-white from our opponent, so the aggro mirror match it'll be. Mire Triton's a pretty good start against this deck, because we'll gain a couple life and trade off. Definitely want to get rid of this Leonin of the Lost Pride as soon as possible so that this can't exile an escape creature from our grave when it dies. So if they attack it, I'm going to snap block. Even though we lose our Death Toucher that could kill something bigger later, we're getting rid of their card that gets to exile our Underworld Charger from grave. Unfortunately, they're just going to shut off our ability to block there with a Fateful End. And I think I'm actually probably going to cast a Mire Triton instead of an Underworld Charger here, because I just don't want to play Underworld Charger in a world where it's going to trade with Leonin and get exiled from my grave. I'm actually just on Mire Triton again. Oh, well, now Phoenix of Ash gets exiled from our grave instead. Good old flavor text on Leonin of the Lost Pride, putting in some work. I guess we just don't block because we gained 2 life here. So if they attack, we just don't block, and then if they don't attack, we just cast Phoenix of Ash during our turn and attack with that. Iroas's Blessing. Okay. Kind of a weird line to me. They must have some specific cards in hand if that's what they want to do here. I mean, I think we are on the Phoenix of Ash train. Maybe they have like Final Flare in hand or something? I don't know. Pious Wayfarer is the play. It's not bad. Oh, Omen of the Dead is incredible with this Final Flare. Sentinel's Eyes. Oh yeah, we are gonna Final Flare the absolute heck out of the Leonin of the Lost Pride. That is a very dead Leonin. Yeah, I mean, I'm on Omen of the Dead Final Flare, right? Your Mire Triton really fill that grave. Well, that's irritating, but we're now just winning on board. If they don't top deck another enchantment here, we just trade with Leonin of the Lost Pride now. Sure, they exile Phoenix of Ash, but then we have 4 cards left, and they just have a 1-2. So we have like 4 real cards versus a single 1-2. Which I guess turns into a 2-3, but still. Like, we can take the long game here pretty easily with our escape deck, even if they get rid of Phoenix of Ash. It's not a massive deal. I guess I could have held on to Omen of the Dead and then went for a trade against the Leonin and then Omen of the Dead in response to the exile trigger. But that still wouldn't have panned out because then that would have done the Karamech's Blessing thing still. But then eventually I think I would still have the Phoenix of Ash if I went that route. Hopefully it doesn't matter here. Alright, they're going to make the Wayfarer 2-3 while they've got the mana to do that. They do miss out on the Constellation trigger by doing this. In terms of the extra damage from it. So Mire Triton and a Scophos Maze Warden here. 2 creatures that can block that Wayfarer very well. Still got 2 cards left in our hand to play around with, and now we have the stronger board state. Hoplite turns things around a little bit. That does let them go wide. Which is going to make it a lot harder for us to start attacking. But with Underworld Charger, all it can do is attack anyway, so we're going to be getting attacks in. Probably on Slaughter Priest Funeral Rites here. Funeral Rites is going to be painful, but I think it's worth it. Omen of the Forge is a wonderful draw, as is Grey Merchant of Asphodel. That's a really, really good draw. Am I on Omen of the Forge or Slaughter Priest as my play right now? I think I'm on Slaughter Priest. That might be a little bit bold because Omen of the Forge is a little better if they have like a specific trick to start doing here. But I feel like this board state is wide enough, 3-4-2-1-2-2, that we don't really get hit here. Most likely. Yeah. Cool. And now we just get to hold up Omen of the Forge in the future. Just go Discordant Piper here. For another creature that can actually block and set up our Black Devotion, and then we play the Underworld Charger, and then next turn we go Grey Merchant, Omen of the Forge. Nice wide board state here, even if they have some kind of trick. And a Flyer is pretty bad for us. Actually incredibly bad for us. But Grey Merchant is pretty good for us. Send in the Underworld Charger. I don't think they're going to block with enough to kill it here, because can't block anyway. I assume they're just going to chump or take 3. Yeah. Now we drop the Grey Merchant to gain a bunch of life, most importantly, but also to put them down to 8. That is a thing. We might be Omen of the Forging their face eventually here. We actually might do it right now. Yeah, because we get some scry out of it. Makes Slaughter Priest bigger. Not that that is likely to matter. Alright, well, I'm glad I went for that scry. Get those out of the way. And see what we hit. We hit a Mire Triton. That's not bad at all. That's more life gain. And we're sending in the can't block creature. Are we sending in the Slaughter Priest? We have enough mana to sacrifice a thing to the Slaughter Priest and still play Mire Triton, so probably are. Because if we need to give it first strike, we can do that. Oh, yeah, this is the problem. They can block with Pious Wayfarer and put the Aura onto Daybreak Chimera. I guess they could do that anyway. If they just block Underworld Charger with Pious Wayfarer. Okay, do we want to sack another creature to give the Slaughter Priest first strike, or do we want to just trade? Probably supposed to get first strike here. Yeah, I probably should have just not attacked with Slaughter Priest. It's probably better to lose a 2-1 than a 2-2 with a bunch of abilities. This is where things do get rough, but they would have gotten rough either way, because even if I didn't attack with Slaughter Priest, again, they can block the Underworld Charger with Pious Wayfarer and then throw Sentinel's Eyes onto Chimera. Either way they do it. But yeah, Sentinel's Eyes on the Chimera, that will be painful. Because you can still block by doing that. They're down to only 4 blockers potentially here, though. They're at 6 life. We're at 11. They have good blockers, though, compared to us. 4, 5, 6, 7. Just attacking with Underworld Charger is not a way to win the game anymore because they just block with Chimera. But then we play 5-5-1. But they kill us in 3 attacks here. If we attack all, they block 4 things. 1, 2, 3, 4. Take 1, 2, 3, 4. All attack 2 turns in a row might get there. Even the GOAT, especially the GOAT. We definitely shouldn't have attacked with the GOAT, if I'm being serious here. But I just slam the all attack button, send a message. They have to block the Maze Warden and take 5? The way this is looking here? Because I can buff the Maze Warden. They gotta have tricks. That's gotta be what's going on here. Tricks in hand? No, they're gonna move a chump block to the Maze Warden here. Yeah. Oh, they're gonna double block the Maze Warden here. No. Block that, take 5. Block that, take 4. This all looks like we just let it through on board. Yeah. So they're at 2 and they only have 1 blocker left. All right. And they scoop them up. They did not draw any gas after we stabilized there, and that will make us 3-1 in this event. Very nice run so far. Here we are now in Game 5 with what looks to be a pretty excellent hand. We are on the draw this game, though, but Mire Tritons into multiple Underworld Chargers. That's going to be an aggressive start. This hand would be super awesome on the play, but still looking pretty spicy on the draw here. Ooh, Mildar, Omen of the Forge. Not massively happy with that. I am massively happy with Death Touchers against these 0-5 defenders our opponent can play. That I am happy about. The Underworld Chargers, though, those are not going to get in. Still going to cast it here. I would like it to die at some point. Okay. Concession from our opponent must be a 2-color deck stuck off of one of their colors that they're interested in. Definitely preemptive concession there. I mean, their 0-5 was pretty good against our 3-3s in hand, but I guess they do not care. They are not going to wait on those second color lands there. So that'll put us to 4 wins here, 1,400 gems and 3 packs no matter what, already getting some good value out of this event. Here we are now, round 6. No creatures in hand's pretty awkward here, but Mogus's Favor is going to be great against 1 toughness stuff from our opponent, and hopefully Funeral Rites can draw us into the cards that we need here. Find out soon enough. Mire Triton turn 2, excellent draw. Excellent draw. Letting us take a little bit of advantage of being on the play here. Playing against a black-white deck, Mire's Grasp is the play. Get rid of that Mire Triton. And we'll just draw some cards here with Funeral Rites. Land, and mill is land as well. Guess that makes up for immediately drawing the creature to cast. Woe Strider is the play from our opponent. I'd love to be able to exile that thing, but I can't. I need to get my final death, otherwise that is going to absolutely take over the game. A very powerful escape ability coming back as a 5/4 and creating another goat every time it escapes, and being able to sack creatures to scry 1. That card is a very bad time for us. I'm just going to go ahead and shoot that for now, but it will come back soon enough. Guess we could have Mogus's favored the goat, but then they would have scryed in response to Mogus's favor anyway. There's not really a cost to casting Mogus's favor willy-nilly right now, since we already have 6 cards in grave. So if we can just get the tiniest bit of value off of Mogus's favor, then we might as well. At any point, ooh, Final Flare. That is a great draw with an Omen of the Forge on the board. Don't need to blow up this Aerophant, though. I'm going to save Final Flare for blowing up their Woe Strider if they recast it. Our Timuret would be pretty awesome here. We have Timuret in this deck, right? Or was that the last deck I drafted? That was the last deck I drafted, okay. Getting mixed up. It's been a long recording session today. This is draft number 3. Alright, so the Venomous Aerophant is coming in. They did play the Woe Strider. We are going to blow up Woe Strider with Final Flare. I mean, I guess we could blow it up with Iroas's Blessing, really. Yeah, that's actually probably even better. So we hit a little harder and we can save Final Flare for later. And if they don't sack the goat right now, then we can Mogus's favor on the goat to make sure we're hitting hard here. Yeah, I'm actually pretty okay with that. Let's just make sure we slam. Come on and slam, and welcome to the jam. Get in there, Rage Scarred Berserker. Now, Woe Strider still accomplished its goal. Like, it's 2 for 1 disc, because we had to spend 2 removal spells on it, whereas they only really spent 1 card. They got to keep all of their cards in hand by just casting something in grave instead. Kunoros. Creature cards in graveyards can't enter the battlefield. Players can't cast spells from graveyards. Well, that's hypocritical with your Woe Strider over there. That's annoying. But we can Final Flare that. The problem is if we Final Flare that, then we can't kill the Death Toucher anymore. That being said, I think that's just what we have to do. We're not going to attack in even if we Final Flare it, though, so we might as well just play Lamphead for now. I would actually probably rather sack the Iroas's Blessing than the Omen of the Forge, so that's something to consider here. So that we can still scry 2. We can always Final Flare in response to a removal spell or something. That's like the best way to ever use Final Flare, is if you're lucky enough to use it in response to removal. Mire's Grasp. Well, we might be using it in response to removal. Looks like it. Stopping our upkeep here so we can scry in our upkeep. Slaughter Priest and a Nyxborn Marauder. We're probably just wanting to draw both of these, right? Yeah, they're both fine. guess Slaughter Priest is like a little scarier, actually, because we can sack Iroas's Blessing to make it a 4/2 first striker. This is probably the first one that actually jams in pretty well. Because they can't kill it even if they block with the Death Toucher. How many cards are in their grave now? 3, so they need 3 more for Woe Strider, because they need 5 total. They need 2 more for Woe Strider. Alright. Soul Reaper of Mogus is coming out. Anything else? Nope. But Soul Reaper of Mogus is still a pretty big deal. Stacking that Heliod's Pilgrim to draw a card after it chump blocks is pretty powerful. 4 power first striker. Can they kill that pretty well? They can double block with the 2/3 and the 1/2. Do I have Mogus' favor my Slaughter Priest? I kind of think I do. It's really hard for them to block well. Potential 6 power first striker here. Okay. Oh yeah, I guess they could do the Heliod's Pilgrim block. And then I have to sack something. That's a problem I didn't quite think of. But we can recast Mogus' favor next turn then. Just sack the favor and recast it. Okay, if they don't have a 1 toughness creature, then having a 4/1 Slaughter Priest of Mogus is pretty scary. But when they do, it's not that scary, and I should have just cast Nyxborn Marauder and waited. Transcendent Envoy. Okay, they have another 1 toughness creature, so Mogus' favor is looking pretty scuffed. It's flavorful though. Put Mogus' favor on the Slaughter Priest of Mogus. Oh, they're going to exile it anyway. Choose that rather than our 6/5 as well, because they know how good the first strike can be. Incendiary Oracle, that's not a bad draw. Alright, we're jamming things out. Jamming stuff on the board, passing the turn. Slaughter Priest of Mogus is getting exiled. I think our opponent's definitely in the winning position here. Woe Strider's just too good of an escape card. And we're definitely in a position where the game's going long thanks to their Death Toucher. If you have a powerful escape card, like a rare escape card, and the game is going long, you're just not going to lose. Even if it's not a rare escape card, if it was like Voracious Typhon or something, I think our opponent would be in the lead as well. Just the one that comes back as a 7/7. Man, it's just the power of escape, as we've seen in some of our games. Unfortunately, we're on the other side of it this game, where we're just going to have to keep trading cards into this Woe Strider that's not costing them any cards. Well, oops, I've minimized Magic Arena. Alright, Mire Triton could mill us our Phoenix of Ash. Phoenix of Ash would be our #1 win condition here. Because if we can draw into Phoenix of Ash, that's our best bet possible. We can't draw into our Phoenix of Ash, though. Our 4/3 trades into like anything, so might as well start getting some trades going here. Clear out the board a little. Incendiary Oracle's super good against Woe Strider. That would be nuts if they blocked the Oracle with Woe Strider. I would be living in magical Christmas land. But I doubt that happens. It's probably going to trade into their 2/3 or not get blocked. Alright, a chump block on the 4/3. No blocks on the Incendiary Oracle. Well, we may as well get in for as much damage as we can, because both players know we have no cards in hand. All we have is this Mogus' favor sitting in our grave. Alright, they're going to draw the card off of the goat. Getting even more value off of their Woe Strider thanks to Soul Reaper of Mogus. We have put our opponent down to 10 now, and we have a Phoenix in our deck. We have a flying, fire-breathing threat. So this game is not over. We also have Grey Merchant of Asphodel in our deck. That would be a pretty big swing in life against our opponent here. So we have outs. We don't have a lot of them. We're definitely in the losing position, regardless of what the life totals seem like. But we have ways to change this game around. Alright, so Inevitable End forces us to sack a creature. We just sack the Berserker. It is not worth it to try to keep sacking smaller creatures to leave that around, unless you have immediate lethal the turn that it would make you sacrifice it. If we sit here taking 1-for-1 trades, we just lose because of Woe Strider. They already have 2 cards in grave. We have to just start passing now, I think. So that we have blockers and we just take 1 a turn for now. Yep. Definitely just have to draw into our outs here. There's nothing we can really do gameplay or skill-wise here. We just got to get lucky at the end. We are in top deck mode, and our opponent just got a great one there with Revelin Hoplite. Spitting out 2 1/1s. That's 2 more cards they get to draw off of Soul Reaper of Mogis, just even more expanding their card advantage against us to pretty astronomical levels. I'll trade a 4/3 for a 3/3 Death Touch all day. Funeral Rites is a big start. Draw 2 cards. Heroes of the Revel's a good one. We did not mill any escape cards though, which is not excellent. Keep taking our 1 damage a turn. Our opponent's just going to be running laps around us in the card advantage field. Down to 9 cards in our deck. Our Phoenix is still in there, though. It's waiting. It's going to show up. It's going to show up. We're going to crush with it. That's our dreams. That's our hopes. We'll see. We have Final Death in the deck as well. Final Death is actually really good against the Woe Strider. Some mill from our opponent. They're down to 10 cards in library. We are still losing to mill if it comes to that. Mogis' favor looking really bad against Soul Reaper of Mogis, because anything that we try to kill with it, they'll just draw a card off of immediately. Yeah, they definitely have the cards to get Woe Strider back again for immense value here. I can't really afford to just take a bunch of damage each turn. I'll just take it for now. I mean, if we don't draw into stuff, if we're just flooding out, then we have the mana to buff Oracle and they can't attack with Woe Strider into Oracle. Oh, there's the Phoenix. Oh my god, there's the Phoenix. We can double pump it here. Yeah, we double pump it. There's the Phoenix. This is going to be a really close game in the end, even after all that value spewing out of the Woe Strider. Choose to scry rather than draw there. It's a little weird. Down to 4 life. With Transcendent Envoy, they do have a chump block against Phoenix of Ash, and they can try to outrace us. We're at 10 here. Daybreak Chimera. Now they've got 2 chump blocks against Phoenix of Ash. Oh, you know what I could actually do? I 2-for-1 myself to do this, but it might be worth it now. Is Incendiary Oracle and Mire Triton still exiles Woe Strider? Even if I don't single-handedly kill Woe Strider with Oracle, if Oracle is involved in its demise. then it does get exiled. But then I'm facing a lot of power from my opponent. Let's see, I mean, I can go... Oops. I can go like that. My opponent has 4 blockers though, and we have 5 attackers. 5 attackers, one thing gets in guaranteed. Mobius' favor buffs, that makes everything +1 power. Can make them lose the rest of their board here, but then we go to 2 life. But does everything on their board die, except their tapped creatures? Yeah, but then we're at 2 life and we die on the crackback. I don't think we go for like a Mobius' favor lethal here, so do we go for these trades here? We exile Woe Strider, kill Hierophant, we're down to just Phoenix of Ash. But then they block Phoenix of Ash, draw a card, hit for 3, 4, 5, 6. Block Phoenix of Ash, draw a card, hit us for 1, 2, 3. We're at 1 life after all that is said and done. Maybe this is where we're at? Look, we're definitely not killing Woe Strider without exiling it. That's just not an option here. But maybe we leave Heroes of the Revel and only lose Mire Triton here and trade with Hierophant. Oh, I guess we do that because we're not that worried about a flying crackback. We're going to be at 5 life. They can only hit us with one of these two. I guess we're only going to have 2 blockers against 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 attackers, and so we'll just die anyway. I really don't know here, but I feel like we have to do this. Which doesn't look very good, but honestly looks like we just have to. Okay, they're going to sack the Woe Strider so it doesn't get exiled, which actually I think is better for us, all said and done. Because now we actually do have enough blockers to definitely not die. Final Death? Final Death exiles a flyer out of nowhere which can find us lethal next turn. We attack with Phoenix of Ash here to kill one of the flyers. Next turn we exile the other one and they have nothing to do about our Phoenix of Ash. Right? That's the line. And we still have Final Death as a backup plan if we somehow get to where we're taking lethal on board. Okay, so they go for the chump block. Scry off the chump block. If they don't kill us this turn, then they need to get another flyer or a removal spell. And it has to be an exile removal spell. They scry to the top, though? They just top deck exile removal? Lord, I hope not, but what else would you scry to the top at this point of the game? Just exile-based removal here. I'm guessing is what's going on. Nyxborn Courser, okay. That is fine. Attack with Woe Strider. We have the mana to go for the double pumped Oracle block here. Soul Reaper of Mogius is coming in as well. Block on the Soul Reaper, block on the Woe Strider. Double pump the Oracle. One card in their hand here. We go for the end step Final Death to have all the mana we need to buff in Mobius' favor all we want. Flicker of Fate exiles it and brings it back to the board, but it's just going to chump block this turn. We don't have lethal anymore. But we trade there. We actually go Mogius' favor on Phoenix of Ash into Grey Merchant to drain them for 3 life on the spot here. And that also makes the Phoenix big enough to trade into the Daybreak Chimera without having to spend the mana to buff it. That way we have enough mana to do both. think that's what we do. We have 19 cards in grave. This has got to be what we do, right? Puts them to 1. Send the Phoenix in, get the trade. And we have the Phoenix lying in wait in the graveyard for next turn. We also gain life in the process, get a 2/4 down, and that's the concession from our opponent. That's going to be 5 and 1 with this Rakdos self-mill deck with a bunch of powerful escape cards, bringing us up into the diamond tiers here. Here we are now in round 7. This hand doesn't look super keepable because we don't have the red source, but it's possible. I mean, we're on the plane. We have one of our best 2-drops to start things off. Feels a little risky for my taste, so I'm going to take the mulligan here. This is not much better. Yeah, I mean, we're not playing any creatures till turn 4. This might just be worse. Really don't think that we can mold a 5 here, though. Probably have to get rid of our 5-drop in hand. This hand does not look like it's going to do too much work for us, though. I would not be surprised if this game doesn't go particularly well for us. Opponent is on a green deck. Start with a turn 1 Moss Viper. Well, at the very least, we have guaranteed some solid value off of Mogus' favor. Turn 2, our opponent plays another forest and passes. Well, we've drawn a 2-mana creature on turn 3. Close enough. Don't have anything else to do turn 3, so we'll drop the Mire Triton. Mill a couple lands, gain a couple life. There is the black source from our opponent. They are on a black-green deck. We've got Kaladesh and Ikoria lands. They just pick their favorite artworks, I guess. They like the droopy lands. Relentless Pursuit is the play, nothing to affect the board state, and it looks like they didn't get a creature, so this is going to be 3 mana, draw 1 land to hand, but it is still going to mill a lot for their escape cards. But definitely feels rough to miss like that. Phoenix of Ash, well, at least we are missing on our draw steps a bit as well, just not off our draw spells. Four mana now from our opponent. Venomous Aerophant is the play, 3/3 Death Touch, mill 3 more cards. No escape cards yet. Go to our turn, we hit the red source. I don't really want a Phoenix of Ash against a black-green deck here, because they probably have Final Deaths in there. We've already seen a Drag to the Underworld. I feel like I want to get them to remove one of my other threats first, so I'm going to go for a Nyxborn Marauder this turn, and then I'll probably drop an Iroas's Blessing on it and blow up the Aerophant. Or they'll take the trade. Didn't expect that trade, but fine by me. Yeah, we'll use our other threats here. Marauder is going to hit harder than the Phoenix of Ash as well, because I'm not just going to sit here spending all my mana to buff the Phoenix of Ash. Voracious Typhon. I would love to exile that thing so they can't just bring it back from grave, but they can't bring it back from grave till they have 7 lands anyway, so it's probably fine to just kill it here. For now. Deals with it for at least 2 turns. But yeah, unfortunately, it never feels good to use non-exile removal on an escape card because you just know they can just bring it back, and it's almost like you didn't even get rid of one of their cards. Destiny Spinner's the play, a 2/3. They can turn one of their lands into a creature with power toughness equal to enchantments, and they go for Nexus Wardens after. A little bit weird on the sequencing there, but it's fine. They don't have enough power to kill Nyxborn Marauder. We can just attack in here. Could even just play Phoenix of Ash and attack in, but then the Phoenix just gets blocked and bounces off, so there's not a huge reason to do that. I think we just attack with Marauder. Then we cast our Maze Warden. We are putting them down to 8 here. That is definitely something. They must be planning on just replaying the Typhon and having it be big enough to block our Marauder. Yep, certainly looks that way. Final Death. Where are you? I'm crossing my fingers. Come on, Final Death. You're a very good card, and I would like to see you again. Putting some massive work here. No Final Death. If we get another red source, we can clear out Nexus Wardens and cast Phoenix of Ash in the same turn and just start ripping in the sky. I mean, I guess we can just cast Oracle and then just Final Flare in their end step. And then cast Phoenix of Ash next turn. It's probably the play. Another land from our opponent, 2 cards in hand here. One of them is a Mire Triton that gains them some life. Brutal. Well, not brutal, but rough. That's not what we want to see when we're trying to sneak in just 2 damage a turn until we get lethal. Gray Merchant, that's really not what we want to see. Drains us for 3 more life. They go up to 13. It's not worth sending a Final Flare at their Mire Triton. We definitely have to get rid of the Reach creature here over anything else. Alright, no attacks. Sick. Reach creature annihilated. And there's another red source, so we get to buff this turn. Hit a little harder. Speed up that clock. I am all about that life. I could Mogis' favor the Mire Triton instead. Could even just Mogis' favor the Phoenix of Ash instead. Because then I can double buff next turn. So this turn I hit for 4 and the next turn I hit for 8. It's not quite lethal, but it is very close. I guess I'm killing them in 3 swings either way, so I might as well just keep Mogis' favor. A double buff is 6. 2, 6, 6 is enough to kill them. So we shoot for 2, 6, 6 is the damage we do. Yeah. 2 this turn so we can clear out Mire Triton. And then just 6 next turn, 6 the turn after that is the plan. Oh, well, if they were going to take Funeral Rites damage, then we could have killed them in 2 swings if we did it the other way. Guess what, they'd be at 7 right now? No, we still couldn't kill them in 2 swings because they'd be at 7 and then we hit them for 6 next turn. Actually, no, if we did the Mogis favor on Phoenix of Ash thing, we would have killed them next turn. Because Mogis' favor on Phoenix means we hit for 4 this turn, which means they'd be down to 7 now, and then we double pump when it's already 4, which makes it 8. But they immediately draw on a Chainweb Arachneer, so it's probably for the best that we did not throw Mogis' favor onto Phoenix of Ash. And here comes Voracious Typhon. Domus for 7. Oh boy. Now what? We don't have the mana to play the Phoenix of Ash and buff it, so we don't have the mana to make it big enough to attack into the Arachneer immediately here. So we probably cast a Berserker. Buff a Marauder, so the Marauder's big enough to attack into their board. Yeah, Marauder goes ahead and forces a chump block here. We probably just kill the 2/3. Now we have a board where we can double block the 7/7 and have Incendiary Oracle exile it though, but they're going to have another Voracious Typhon engrave anyway. Choose to go to 4 life. Alright. Now we've got outs. Our own Gray Merchant just straight up kills them. If we draw our Gray Merchant, if they don't have more life gain coming here. Come on. Gray Merchant time. Good old Gary. Everyone's friend. Man, this game has panned out a lot better than I thought it would. This has panned into a really interesting long match. I thought for sure our opening hand was just poop. I think this is the one we mulled the 6, and it was a little bit awkward. I mean, now that Gray Merchant kills them off the top, I don't know if I even want to trade with this Typhon. Especially because they just get another one anyway. Yeah, they're just going to cast another Typhon anyway, even if we trade with this one. So I'm actually just going to cross my fingers for Grey Merchant rather than trade here. I'm just going to take 7. Now they drop their second Typhon. Yep, they dropped their second Typhon. Come on, Gary. Ah, it's not Gary. I do have the mana to force them to lose Chainweb Arachneer here, which means we kill them the turn after this. That is probably our best play. We won't have the cards engraved to do it, though, unless we make a lot of chump blocks, which we can definitely do. So if 2 of our creatures end up in our grave, we can recast Phoenix of Ash next turn and kill them. I guess they can recast Chain. No, they can't. They need more cards in grave. So yes, this is what we do. Alright. And if we just go for a double chump next turn, exile the cards we chumped and just attack for lethal in the sky. Because they don't have enough cards in grave to bring back their Arachneer now. They only have 2 others. They need 4. Send in the Typhons. Send in the chumps to exile from our grave here. And I'm going to choose the ones where Grey Merchant still wins the game. I'm going to choose Oracle, Maze Warden here. They're going to attack all. They see the writing on the wall. They're going to go for the attack all here. Maybe they have a way to find lethal here, surprise us, that we don't know about. They know Phoenix of Ash can come back, so maybe they just go for the no attack this turn. It's the only way they live next turn if they don't have interaction in hand. They just can't attack into us, because then our grave's big enough to escape a Phoenix of Ash. They see the line. They just can't attack right now, because they fuel our grave for Phoenix of Ash, so they just pass. Well, I mean, they don't pass. They still get to cast other stuff, but they don't hit us with their giant 7/7s here, which gives us more time to potentially draw into our Garys or just draw into more cards we can throw in our grave. All right. Yeah, they can't attack until it's lethal immediately. Funeral Rites? That puts us to 3 life and it doesn't kill them on the spot. That's the problem. We Funeral Rites and then we can cast Phoenix of Ash, but we hit them for 3 with it. And put them to 1 life, and then we die on the crackback because we have 4 blockers against 5 attackers. I guess we don't die on the crackback? Well, yeah, we do, because they have 6 attackers, because we need to keep in mind Destiny Spinner's ability. With Destiny Spinner, they can find lethal on us soon. I mean, they only make a 1/1 with that, but even just making 1/1/1 means they attack us with 6 creatures against 4 blockers, so 2 creatures get in, 1 of them for 2 damage and 1 of them for 1 damage, so I can't just cast Funeral Rites here and cast Phoenix of Ash. Because if I do that, yeah, I'm not killing them. And then I'm taking lethal on the crackback. So I think I have to just pass. As well, we're both like stuck between a rock and a hard place with our choices because of this escape nonsense and Destiny Spinner's nonsense. I don't think I'm doing the math wrong. Like, I think I lose 2 life. I go to 3 life. At 3 life with 4 blockers. Block, 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 block. Take 1, 2... We actually take 3, 4, because they have enough lands to activate 2 things. So if we cast Funeral Rites, we die. If we don't cast Funeral Rites, we go to 1, which is enough to where we'd have creatures in our grave, and then we cast Phoenix of Ash and have the mana to buff it, and then we just kill them. Oh, this game of Magic. Reading that Phoenix of Ash. They have a card to exile it from grave now. Things would be mega over. Land for turn. Have I done the math wrong? Do they actually have lethal here that I didn't notice? It is a 1/1. They're gonna have the ability to attack with 2 of them here. Oh, they're gonna use these 1/1s to fill their graveyard to cast Chainweb Arachneer? I mean, I can exile 1 with Incendiary Oracle, and if the other one goes to grave, they still need 4 of them in their grave. They need 4 of them in their grave to cast the Chainweb Arachneer. So if I block 1, they only have 3 in grave, and they still can't cast Chainweb Arachneer. So we block 1 and exile the other with Oracle. So yeah, still can't do Chainweb Arachneer next turn. Draw for turn is a land. Eight mana. 3 mana for Funeral Rites, 4 mana for Phoenix of Ash. It's not enough. Hit them for 3 again. If we cast Funeral Rites now, I could draw into Grey Merchant of Asphodel, I guess, and that would win on the spot. But again, if we don't hit, we lose because we have 3 life. We saw what they're going to do. They can activate 2 1/1s here. They've got the mana 4/4, the attack with these 2. 4 blockers, block the biggest creatures. 1, 2, 3, 4. We block the biggest creatures and take 4 total, but taking 4 total when we've lost 2 life puts us to -1. We still can't cast Funeral Rites. We still have to just pass. So they have Chainweb Arachneer and 3 other cards. Still can't get Arachneer back. Wow, this is really a game. I guess there's one thing to consider. If they make an attack where they think they only kill one of my creatures, like they attack with a 1/1 and a 2/4 or something, I could chump block with my 2/2, so the 2/2 dies. I can actually make my Scophos Maze Warden 1 toughness as a surprise to get a card in my grave. The problem is I need enough cards that I need 3 cards other than Phoenix of Ash, so I need Maze Warden and another card to die in order to recast Phoenix of Ash without casting Funeral Rites. So I can activate 2 lands here and attack with both of them. This time we might just let 1 through and go to 4 life here. But I guess if we do that, then we die. Oh, if we do that, then we die the next time they animate 2 lands. But they won't have the mana to animate 2 lands unless they play another land. So I die to like a top-decked land if I let one of these through. I die to them just drawing the land. Which seems like more than likely enough that I should block both, but then they get to cast Chainweb Arachneer next turn. So like I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place here where if I just block like this, sure, they can't cast Chainweb Arachneer next turn, but they can just go land, attack for lethal if I don't draw a creature. But if I do the double block, then next turn they get to cast Chainweb Arachneer, and then they don't have to worry about holding blockers back and they start killing me with the Typhons. So it feels like either way I'm basically taking lethal next turn. But I guess I'm literally taking lethal next turn if I don't block both, if I don't draw a creature. So the question is, how all in am I on drawing a creature here? Let me actually, how does the Funeral Rites play work if I kill both of these? If I kill both of these and then I go for Funeral Rites, I still have 4 blockers, but they can only activate 1 more attacker with Destiny Spinner. Which means block, 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 block. I still take 3, even if they can only attack 1, which is still lethal because I take 2 and I'm down to 3 life. So I think I still can't do the funeral rites play either way I do this. Oh. Guess we hope to draw a creature. Because if Chainweb Arachnir gets down, it's locked. It's just locked. This way I win with a creature. I don't win with a creature, but I'm safe with a creature. I don't know anymore. Oh, Gary! Gary! Okay, all right. Oh my god. That was a stressful game. That's 6-1. Gary the Snail coming in hot. Oh my god. All right, 6-1. I'll take it. Incredible amount of gems and packs at the ready. I'm very interested in what you all think would be the right play that last turn. Do we go for that double block so we're not facing lethal on board next turn? Not lethal on board, but lethal if they play a land next turn? Or do we not go for the double block because any creature means we can just go for the double block the turn after anyway, and that extends the amount of time we have to finding the outs to casting our Phoenix? I don't know. I really don't know there. We were just really lucky to have Grey Merchant of Asphodel on the top. Good old Gary, our best friend. 1,800 gems and 5 packs, no matter what happens here. Incredible value out of this draft. And we've got 2 more shots to get the 7th win in this run. All right, here we are in round 8 on the play with another great start. Mire Triton has always been a banger turn 2, and it'll be the same here. Incendiary Oracle also putting in some work, really threatening opposing escape cards. Escape cards don't generally fear death, but when there's an exiling creature on board, they're quite frightened. Looks like immediate removal. Mire's Grasp it is on the Mire Triton. Still got some good value off of it. It is really filling our graveyard because the Triton itself and the 2 cards it milled are in the yard. Now we've drawn into Mogis' Favor, so we can drop Oracle and Favor at the same time next turn. So we have a 3-drop this turn, and we can still make the use of all 3 mana next turn as well. If our opponent plays something that needs to get favored. If they don't, I guess we can just buff Underworld Charger and hit a little harder. But another Mire's Grasp it is. They're just going to keep everything off their face for now. And here's Incendiary Oracle and pass the turn. Did not hit another land here. Once we get the lands, though, we've got the cards for Underworld Charger. Not against Scavenging Harpy, we don't. That will exile our escape card. Put in some solid work here, but that also lets our Mogis' Favor put in some solid work, which is pretty nice. Could hold up our instant speed removal here, but I'd rather just get an extra damage in here. I don't think it'll be super necessary. We're definitely not going to cast a Final Flare against whatever our opponent plays, and I don't think 2 damage will be enough to kill it. Yep, that's a 3 toughness creature. We can exile that with our Final Death, or just offer the trade with Oracle. That seems fine. Trade with Oracle it is. And we hold on to these 3 removal spells for the next stuff our opponent plans on doing. And it's going to be a long game here. I'm guessing myself and my opponent are just going to sit here removing our threats for a little while. That is too big for Omen of the Forge again. Omen of the Forge looking pretty dang weak, but with Mogis' Favor, that's enough. Whenever a creature dies, if an aura you control was attached to it, so we can do Mogis' Favor plus Omen to kill it here. If we really want to, I guess I could just Grey Merchant for a 2/4, and we don't have to worry about that. Yeah, I mean, I guess. I'm very sad to just play Gary early in the game where Gary's not getting anywhere near killing people after how the last game ended. It does feel a little sad to just slam Gary down immediately just because we don't have a creature, but I think that's where we're at here. Heliod's Pilgrim, this could be a scary card here. Lots of good auras in the format. Dreadful Apathy it is, that's not that scary. Just get rid of Gary, fair enough. Fair enough. They just have a 1/2 and a 2/3 out now. Not bad at all. Lamplighter Death's Vigil is going to block all day long. So we'll just drop that and shoot the Pilgrim with Omen of the Forge, and then we have our enchantment on the board to sacrifice towards Final Flare. Actually, what am I on about? I can sack Grey Merchant to Final Flare before they exile it, and then I can still scry off of Omen of the Forge later. It's probably better. Almost definitely better. Alright, top deck war it is, but we have the ability to scry. Our opponent does get the first draw, though. Nothing as of yet, it looks like. Mire Triton's a wonderful draw. That's going to fuel our escape cards. Maybe pull out some more of them. Another Underworld Charger or our Phoenix. The triple Mire Triton has just been popping off. I actually 100% stand by taking 3 copies of Mire Triton. At the end, when I took the third in the draft, I'm like, I don't know, maybe I should have taken 3 of these. I don't know what I took it over, but they've been just great. They've just been enjoyable. They're pretty bad against Mogius's favor, though. That is going to get rid of that Mire Triton. Alright, land. 1 card in their hand here. So, I mean, if we kill Heliod's Pilgrim, we just start hitting them for 1 a turn from now on. I guess we can Mogius's favor our Lambda and start hitting them for 3 a turn. It's actually kind of a big clock when we're all top decking, so let's go for it. I mean, we have a Final Death backup for their next card. It's not like we're using all of our removal here just to kill a 1-2. I'm definitely not going to scry on our upkeep, though, because then we might not hit a land and not be able to cast Mogius's favor. And Mogius's favor puts definitely a solid amount of pressure on our opponent here, so I'm going for it. Let's do the thing, Mogius's favor. Let's do the thing. And it'll still be out of reach of a Mogius's. They're at a Final Death or Lampad. I mean, that's obviously not great, but Final Death is gone now for whatever we draw into. Just drain them for 1 life while we can, I guess. And there's Skophos Maze Warden, and the Final Death is gone, so big threat. No removal in their hand now, unless they just drew it. And we just start jamming in with the Maze Warden. Definitely not going to put Mogius's Warden on this, because its ability, or Mogius's favor on it, because its ability already does the same thing. I can just spend the mana to do the +1/-1. I can just spend 3 mana every turn and get the same thing accomplished. I guess I get 1 more power total, because it's +2/-1 instead of +1/-1. But I don't think it's worth it. Especially now we've got 1/1s we can start chipping into. Oh, I'm exiling that. I am exiling that lifelink right off the board. No lifelink for you, friend. Ooh, Slaughter Priest. I don't have the mana to cast Slaughter Priest and Final Death, and I think that's just too bad. I'm just going to cast Final Death. I'm not going to deal with any Vigilant lifelink stuff. Don't want to deal with those shenanigans. Alright, so kill a 1/1 or hit for 4. Hit for 4 it is. They are down to 12, and they are completely playing off the top now. Hateful Eidolon. That is very good with Mogius's favor. Even if they just put it on their own card, they'll draw a card when that card dies. They just made Skull Clamp. They can Skull Clamp their 1/1 tokens, Mogius's favor on their 1/1 token to draw a card. It's not quite Skull Clamp. Skull Clamp is an equipment that gives +1/-1, and when the creature dies, you draw 2 cards. But it's close. It is close. Still going to draw 1 card each time. That's a pretty sick combo. That's actually very cool. Hateful Eidolon with Mogius's favor on your own 1/1s. So that was a very good draw for our opponent, because that just immediately is like, get a Hateful Eidolon plus draw 2. Why does it look like they only exiled 1 card each time they escaped? They definitely didn't. They've got 6 cards in exile, but just looked like it. Ooh, Funeral Rites. Alright, so Skophos Maze Warden is probably getting in and probably hitting hard. Do I want to do that before anything else? I probably want to Funeral Rites first. I'm at 25 here. I can take all of this damage. Ooh. Heroes of the Revel and Funeral Rites, and we got an Underworld Charger in our grave. Excellent stuff. We're just going to cast Slaughter Priest here. I now have the cards in hand. I don't need to draw more. And the cards in grave. So our opponent had to do some shenanigans to draw some cards there. We just drew a draw spell. Just did it the simple way. We're the boring player at this table, that's for sure. Opponent definitely has the cooler deck. Alright, 23-8. Nightmare Shepherd, though, good lord, that card is powerful. Whenever another one of their creatures dies, they get a 1/1 copy of it. So even if we kill Eidolon, they get a 1/1 version of Eidolon, and it's a 4/4 flyer, which is pretty dang big. Now I'm feeling a little bad we spent our removal, because that card is threatening. Mogis' Favor on the Hateful Eidolon to get some extra life gain going here. On their blockers. We've got an Underworld Charger engraved. That's going to be pretty big if we just slam that onto the board, but would I rather just play Heroes of the Revel here, especially because it's good with Mogis' Favor? Maybe so. I can send in Slaughter Priest and Skophos Maze Warden, and we're attacking with essentially a creature big enough to trade for Nightmare Shepherd either way, and neither of these die to Hateful Eidolon, because this is a 3/4 versus that. This is a 4/2 first strike if we sack the Omen of the Forge. They can just get another copy of Hateful Eidolon, though, and they draw a card when they do that. So they just chump with Hateful Eidolon, get a 1/1 version of Hateful Eidolon, and draw a card, and then they can Mogis Favor the Hateful Eidolon and draw another card next turn, because they can do the copy. Oh. Draw a card for each aura you control that was attached to it. Actually, I could do this and then Mogis' Favor their token copy of Hateful Eidolon after they go for the chump block. Might not be worth it, because then we're not playing a big creature here, but I don't feel like it is. What is in your hand? Now I'm very concerned. Now I'm concerned I made a massive mistake. No, not the stupid Karametra's Blessing. That card is just ruining my day today. I mean, not fully, but I've gotten absolutely pooped on by that card several games in a row. That is really bad. I guess now we don't have to sack Omen of the Forge to make Slaughter Priest first strike here, though. That's something. Get to keep the Omen. Yeah, and with our opponent down to literally just a Nightmare Shepherd, it would be pretty greedy for them to attack when we're at 23, and they're going to still be at 8 here. So we're actually like not under a ton of pressure here getting rid of this Hateful Eidolon. Well, we're down to 12 cards in our library. Alright, so we stopped their card draw on the second one because they didn't have any auras attached to it. We had an aura attached to it. But they still drew a card plus their card for turn here, so we'll see what they got with their 2 cards in hand. If they got a second Mogis' Favor, they could double up on our Slaughter Priest. That would be pretty sad. Inevitable end it is that will also kill the Slaughter Priest. Fair enough. Which means they could start attacking with Nightmare Shepherd. And Timoret chosen from... No way! That is sick here. That's an obnoxiously good draw. Just incredibly good against our deck. Oh, I guess we get to draw 2 and play Heroes of the Revel. That's the best we got here. Those are not cards. All right. Mogis' Favor the 1/1, as you do. Scavenging Harpy as well. Our Mogis' Favor would have been sick against that. I guess it would have exiled it when it entered the battlefield, even if they didn't have Timoret. No, that Timoret off the top was disgusting. So the last 3 draws were Timoret, Inevitable, and Scavenging Harpy. Straight gas coming at us here. We got to get something big to follow up. Phoenix of Ash is something big. Nope, Timuret just exiles it. Phoenix of Ash is absolute nothingness is what that is. I should have put the stop to Scryner upkeep, but we probably would have kept Phoenix of Ash on top, even though it doesn't immediately kill our opponent. It can surprise kill them out of nowhere, because we can double buff it, make it 6? 6 is not enough, though. Here's the Revel just gets blocked by Timuret. Oh, this sucks. I guess we see what's coming up and see if there's any particular lines that might find us victory. Nyxborn Marauder, Agonizing Remorse, neither of those get anywhere near doing anything here. I guess Agonizing Remorse like exiles their Mogus' favor, but it's already not doing anything. Yeah. No, if we would have scryed, we would have kept Phoenix of Ash and just dumped the rest. Even if it was scry 3. Oh, Timuret being 5 toughness on this board state is so rough. I feel like I still attack in, because if they attack with Timuret next turn, they know that they just can't, they can't block Heroes of the Revel anyway. So they're not, it's not like we're leaving our shields down by attacking with Heroes of the Revel. They're already just never going to attack with this Timuret. So we might as well see if maybe they don't block. Oh my god. So if they tap out, Phoenix of Ash actually kills them out of nowhere. Oh no, because they still have to gain like 50 life. No, Timuret's just way too strong. Never mind. I forgot about all the life gain they get here. And they drew life gain off the top. God dang it. Things are just lining up very poorly for us. Yeah, I mean, they're at 9, but they're essentially at 11, 12, 13, 14? 9, 10, 11, 12... No, 13. They're essentially at 13. There's no way Phoenix of Ash can find lethal. And we just have another land here. That was really rough ending to that. We got in a top deck war, and we lost it pretty handedly. Definitely happens. 6-2 it is. Here we are in the final round. Win or lose, this will be the last game of Magic for today. And the last game of Magic with this sick Rakdos Escape deck. So I'm very much rooting for it here. I would love to see a 7-win run out of this one, but we can't be too unhappy with a 6-win run. We still get some pretty great rewards. On the play here, I might go into Incendiary Oracle first this time. I don't know. We actually don't need the Mire Triton to mill us until we have the mana to cast our escape cards anyway, so they all cost like 4 or 5 to bring back from the grave. If we're worried our opponent's going to play some pretty good blockers, we can go for Mire Triton just to have Death Toucher down. Definitely not going for turn 2 Discordant Piper. Discordant Piper just looks pretty bad in this hand. It's probably not just going to come out for quite a while. Well, I've not seen the rope show up yet, and I feel like if we were waiting on our opponent to mulligan, the rope would have shown up here. Okay. Alright, just trying to make sure. I was about to restart Arena just in case. Funeral Rites is the draw. That is some excellent self-mill if we get to it. I am going to drop the Oracle first. This is going to be really good if our opponent plays like the 3-1 with Escape or anything like that. Ooh, still no land drawn is a little sketchy. We've got some cheap cards in hand. We've got some time. Go for the Mire Triton here. And we've milled 2 lands. That was not the ideal cards to see on top. But we see a 3rd land on top, luckily for us, so still good. Hit for 4. I'm going to keep the pressure on rather than drawing more cards. I'm just going to keep playing 2-1s here. And we hit for 6 next turn. They need to get a good blocker here. Well, that's a 3 for 1. Our deck's pretty good at coming back from that kind of stuff. We have a lot of escape cards for late game value, but that is pretty obnoxious. You can't really play around Wraths in Limited because they're always rare. There's always like 2 a set, so when you get got by them, you just get got. Always feels bad. Iroas' Blessing, pretty excellent against our 5-mana 4/4. Now they're just flooding out the board here. We're still in a good spot. Mire Triton trades for anything. Omen of the Forge does as well. We can even Iroas' Blessing, one of our little very unassuming, unimportant creatures here. Just to start clearing their creatures off board, because we'd still have a final death after that. Honestly? Do I want a 1/2 goat or a 2/2 that can't block? It's time for a 1/2 goat. That's what it's time for here. And we're still somehow winning the race. Unless Skolo Grove Dancer mills a lot of lands, gains a lot of life. Voracious Typhon. No longer winning the race, but we can exile the heck out of that, and we shall. Ooh, Underworld Chargers. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful card here. However, I kind of have to exile the Typhon right now. Don't have any attacks anymore. Our opponent does have attacks, which is awkward. A Nax off the top. I am once again asking my opponent to not have any gas. Well, Agonizing Remorse is kind of gas of our own, but we probably have to spend this turn just playing Triton and Charger. I probably should have put Iroas' Blessing on my 1/1, because then we could have attacked with a 2/2 last turn. Sure, we couldn't have like blocked with it, but we could still attack into 2/2s from our opponent. Get your 1 Satyr, and I will block it with my 1/2 all day long. Chainweb Arachnir. Got a Rage Scarred Berserker, so we have a 5/4 here. That'll block all day, but the Arachnir just goes in the grave and then comes back and demolishes us. If we had 1 more mana here and I could cast Agonizing Remorse and Rage Scarred Berserker, this would be the easiest line ever, but we don't. We have to cast one or the other. So I guess I probably just have to cast Agonizing Remorse. I have to just attack with Underworld Charger, let them block with the Arachnir, then exile it with Agonizing Remorse, but we take a damage when we do that, and we only have 1 blocker on board. This looks like a loss here. Unless I just don't attack, I just play a 5/4 and don't attack, so that we don't dump the Arachnir in their grave. God, yeah, this ended up so close. If we just didn't run so hard into that Storm Wrath, if we just went for the draw spell there and only lost 2 creatures, I think we win this game. Opponent's out of stuff now. I mean, I guess we don't lose yet. We're just close to losing. The problem is now if I send Underworld Charger and it just dies to Maze Warden. It doesn't even like kill the Arachnir so we can exile it. We've got 15 cards in our grave. We can escape Underworld Charger though, and then be attacking with a 5/5. We can't escape it till next turn anyway. I probably just want to scry here and just be really hopeful for Our Phoenix or something. Oh, Mazavith. No, even if we get Phoenix, they can just always stop it. Mazavith just locks us out of the game completely. They can use it on the offensive as well to just make sure none of the combat goes wrong for them. I mean, I guess they only remove one thing from combat here, so I mean, I'm taking 2 and then I'm killing something. This actually looks really fine to me. Even if they Labyrinth. Oh yeah, the Maze Warden fights every time they Labyrinth. They got the 2-card combo. Yeah, I mean, sure thing. Well, they're not actually getting that much out of the fight, though. Yeah, they're just not even fighting. Okay. Actually, I think they should have fought our goat. At least. Yeah, that worked out surprisingly well. Let's scry. Moe's favor is not actually good here. Omen of the Death is, though, right? We have 17 creatures in grave. That's got to be good. I'm not even going to look. I'm just going to assume that's good. Might be a mistake, but I'm pretty sure that is going to be good. Come on. Something good? Oh, yeah, we got a bunch of Mire Tridents. We have a Heroes of the Revel. Heroes of the Revel's sick. But I actually want to have the mana to Agonizing Remorse, so I want a 3-mana or less creature here to be ideal. So do I just want another Mire Triton? Because that gets us closer to milling our flyer. 12 cards. We're at 7 life. But Mire Triton puts us up to 9. 12 cards here? I think I do take Mire Triton with 12 cards. I might be playing this completely wrong, but I'm pretty sure this is where I just go like, bam! I just slam in. The shields are like relatively down here. And then we get rid of the Chainweb Arachneer, drop a Mire Triton. We can only take 2 on the Crackback, and then we get to scry again. We don't get to scry again because we have to cast Agonizing Remorse. Yeah, we have to cast Agonizing Remorse so this Arachneer doesn't get us. Maybe we don't send in the goat. No, we do. I'm not going to chump block a 2-2 with a 1-2. We do send in the goat. Send in the squad. They... Okay. Well, now I am not going to Agonize Remorse. Because they would rather just keep the Arachneer down than try to escape it. So I guess we just Mire Triton and Omen of the Dead then. Alright, well, 2 cards closer to the Phoenix. They're going to mill some more, digging for their own escape cards, I'm assuming, or just some life gain. Nessian Hornbeetle, no 4-power creatures yet. Going to combat past the turn. They got to hold up the blockers because they're at 3 life. Omen of the Dead. Scry to the bottom. Oh, Lampad of Death's Vigil for the win out of nowhere. Get that Labyrinth off the board. That doesn't matter to me. I'm just going to hit you for 3 outside of combat. Oh, they could get really lucky with their Skull of Grove Dancers, actually. They have 6 mana. They can try twice. They need to hit 1 land in their top 2 to survive. Oh, wow. I almost flubbed this out. I need to respond to them trying to do that. Oh, no. Yeah, Lamphead does not just immediately win it. Lamphead does not immediately win it. Gives us a good shot. I think I still just go for that shot, and then I bring back Underworld Charger and sack another creature next turn. Because then we have like a really good shot. They have to self-mill a lot to survive next turn of us doing the same thing. Not a land, not a land, not a land, not a land. It's not a land? If this one's a land, we respond and we win. respond, and win. Okay, cool. That was close. I almost punted that away because I forgot about those Grove Dancers. Oh my god. Yeah, that was close. And yeah, I guess since they had double Grove Dancer, they were going to gain 2 life for every land that they hit. So if they hit a land on the first one, I was really doomed. But they had to have literally land right on top, because if it was the second one, then we can do like I did and just respond to them trying to save themselves. That was not great gameplay at the very end of that last game. I got way too excited about the Lampad. The Lampad was still a great draw. We definitely wanted to just jam out the Lampad, and then probably find out what our best attacks were and just go for that. But we definitely were not supposed to just start sacking creatures willy-nilly trying to find lethal there, but it still worked out for us, luckily enough. If we played that out better after drawing the Lampad, I'm pretty sure we still had it unlocked thanks to picking up the Lampad. We just needed to play much safer there. At that point. Either way, we do get another 7-win run in the Theros Beyond Death Premier Drafts before they head off. There's going to be one more Theros Beyond Death Premier Draft tomorrow, and then they will swap out to Chromatic Cube Drafts this Friday. So if you are interested in more Theros Beyond Death, some Chromatic Cube drafts, any drafts in general on Magic Arena, then stick around on the channel. That is what I do almost every day. And there's tons of videos like this. You can make sure to like, comment, subscribe, or just watch some more videos for the YouTube algorithm to send some more in your recommended feeds. Outside of that, I would just like to thank you all again for watching, and I'll see you all again soon for some more Magic Arena.